have a sort of short intro, and I have you on a new map in Roll20. Please go refer yourselves to that. I am not logged into Roll20, and we will not be changing the map. So it's more just theme setting. And after my brief intro, I will mostly be handing things over to you, players. So just let me know as soon as you are all ready, and we can proceed. I get a yes from Dave. I get a yes from Ariadne. Latro. Trample. Sarah. Jules. Okay. Two sec. Actually, Dave. Dave, you're gonna give me a cue. Okay, you're gonna cue me on. Give me 5 seconds of warning. Okay.
It's already recording. You could just truncate.
Can't hear you.
It's already recording. You can just truncate it.
Wonderful. You find yourselves in Mineral Springs, outside Evening Star. You have chosen to rest, and you have a few hours to collect your faculties before you attempt to sleep for the night. Between your trail packs and what you have managed to pillage from the Lonesome Tankard, you have managed to cobble together a decent simulacrum of a camp. Dainty streamers cut from flags that Evening Starins found in an old warehouse on the east of town, burnt but still colorful. A rope that Sporgle found in Andre's trail pack. Chemical lights, an easy alchemical trick from your pack, Julienne. Long canvas wraps, no two alike, that were ready to be used as stretchers, Rain, can now be tensed for the night. Kason, this orange silken wrap was around your shoulders when you were initiated as a Lithandrite. Your mentor would understand if you needed to use it for a night to stay warm in the cave, right? The action is with the party. This session ends when you agree to sleep. Before then, you have a moment to reflect on the nature of the power that you have gathered within yourself today. How will you assemble yourselves for the future? What spells will you memorize for tomorrow? You were well fed today. Well, 5 of you were, and 1 of you found enough to eat. And you do not need to assemble upkeep for this long rest. At the conclusion of this session, when you set your head down, you should have a functional level 3 character sheet. I expect that you will accomplish this somewhat in character, but mostly across the table. The action is with the party.
I assume Kason is still in process of producing the ceremony, or is that concluded?
Um, so I'm thinking we should probably get the pile of stuff together, and I'm just thinking, technically speaking, it might make more sense to cast it in the morning, wake up, because it lasts for 24 hours. Otherwise, we're wasting 8 hours on sleeping. Was to cast it because it's technically
We would waste 8 hours either way, right? On the front end or the back end.
This is true.
True.
This is true. This is true. So we could cast it now.
Well, it's my birthday now, so.
Here's the birthday wishes.
So, it's my party, so I'm just going to ask this of everybody. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5.
Slightly taller, better looking.
I know 5 years is nothing to an elf, but 5 years feels like almost all of my life. It feels so long away for me.
Yes, and despite the 5 years to an elf's mortal coil, doesn't seem like much. With all that's been going on, it seems like an eternity. I can barely think of what's going to happen next month, no less 5 years from now. We find ourselves at a bit of a precipice, don't we? It's an important one. You turn of age, yes?
I'm of age right now. I'm a full
Yeah.
fledged woman.
Yeah. perfect opportunity for a ceremony spell.
When do
I
elves
think
turn of age? When did you turn of age?
I don't think mentally, I don't think I'm there yet. Still working on that.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
60 something? Is that
60?
counting? I think.
My
Somewhere
mother's
around
not
there.
even 60.
So
Well,
you've basically just broken up.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of years just, kind of cavorting around. So we can just erase a number of those years as inconsequential.
By all accounts, I'm 97 and still a teenager in all accounts. It's a bit wishy-washy when it comes to elves, and when we've been crowned adult, some of it's emotional, some of it is true time.
So I feel the
I'm not
question is
quite
even more salient then. What do you want to be when you grow up?
In truth, I wanted to be a florist, but I don't think that that's quite in the question anymore.
Are you not just a
Why
florist
not?
now with extra steps?
You could look at it that way.
If anything, you've done well past what a basic florist could be. If anything, you've already achieved your goal and then some.
Well, that's more dropping the mud on what a florist does, doesn't it? An apothecary, they travel around and heal people, salve their wounds,
With
calm
what,
them down.
among
Yes.
other sorts.
And a florist more celebrates occasion. For a florist here, I would have produced something of a bouquet, perhaps a little arrangement, but instead we dropped ink into your little ceremonial pool. Flowers have meaning outside of their remedial effect.
Yes, and so do drinks.
What about this guy? Pointing at Sporgle. How old are you, little guy?
Sporgle 16 winters.
Is that old for a goblin?
Uh, no.
Oh, you're young.
Uh, Sporgle big at 12.
Oh, okay. So we're basically all in the same boat here, except for Julienne over here.
Yes, unfortunately, it seems I'm the only one that's happened to make it out and about somewhat.
Truly at your wits' end, then.
Physically, yes. Mentally, no. But there are always ways around it.
You know, my mother sometimes says she still feels 17. Do you still feel 17, Julian?
No. I've unfortunately read too much, seen too much, been too many places, and my body does not feel like it is 17.
You more feel Ren's age.
I am almost 36. What do you want from me?
Conversation, I guess. Never mind.
I mean, if we're
Softening
trying
the
to get to
wound.
know each other, we could play some kind of little party game or something. Just
Oh,
like some,
I
I don't know,
thought we
some
were.
icebreaker game. No,
Well, your turn for a
icebreaker
question
games are
then,
always
Kason. Your
interesting.
turn for a question.
I mean, or if we wanted something with more structure, we could do like two truths and a lie or something, and you try to guess like which one's the lie. We all try to say the most absurd things.
Ooh,
Be a fun way to get to know each other.
I doubt no way
Could
can
throw some-
find a lie that can fool me.
Well, how about this then? You sit out her round. I'm fair game. It would be really cheating, wouldn't it? At least I've been gone for years. You've had so many little stories you could tell me that could certainly be lies.
Are you good at lying, Ren?
Rain.
Rain?
Ren's your brother. But yes. There's so many times you have to smear the lines of truth to help someone cope with death. What is a white lie to someone on their deathbed, truly? Hmm.
Is it
Seems to
really
have been a
a lie
bit of
if
a.
you can't dispute it after they die? Anything to make them feel comfort in the last moments, yes?
Sometimes that is all you're really there for. It's a bedside manners thing. Perhaps I missed my class on that end.
I thought you two picked flowers. Why are you talking about corpses?
Because sometimes we pick the flowers to save the person from turning into a corpse, and we don't make it in time.
Sometimes you pick Nightshade, I guess.
Sometimes. Sometimes I just pick a handful of sprigs of clover just to, add a little bit of color to something. What difference does it make?
Oh, you're no fun. Please play along. It's my birthday.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. Let me prepare some drinks at least for us. Going to take some glass vials from my Albix set. Just mix a basic, kind of like a tea together. Heat it up and over the fire and pass it out. Let me see what ingredients I got.
What's No Way doing during all this? Brooding?
But she's listening. She's like smiling politely.
Person at a party who doesn't want to get noticed.
Person at a party who's afraid she's going to outshine her friend naturally and is trying not to have that happen.
Ouch. Yet. So
So
true.
she laughs harder at Tilda's jokes than other people's. As to whether that's natural or not is anyone's guess.
All right. Julianne will pass out some Veradilly tea.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing I've never heard of?
It's a
Just so you know, since you're not on push to talk, it's like half reading.
mud.
Yeah. It's like it like cuts out for like about 50% of every sentence. If you care.
Oh yeah, I was mostly just talking across the table. I'll lean forward when I have something better to say. I'll try to move this more over here. I'm stealing this. You can't have it.
Sweet.
I think what we're saying is we can hear Ari perfectly, but Mike's sentences get cut off half the time.
You just like pass it back and forth. Stick.
You're not missing anything. I am so far out of the way of this conversation.
Oh, are we game? I'm fine with 2 truths, 1 dare, 1 lie, was it?
2 truths, 1 dare, 1 lie?
Basically, you say three things, and then people try to guess which one is the lie. Like, I'm terrified of crickets. I've never seen a gnome before. I can't actually speak Sylvan. One of those is a lie.
So you're
Oh.
up third.
I think he can't speak Sylvan. He forgot all of his lessons.
So
Can
can't
Sylvan-
speak Sylvan is the lie. I am terrified of crickets, and I've actually never seen a gnome before.
You haven't seen in all your time traveling.
I've never seen a gnome.
I know that they're short, but you can look down, you know.
I've never seen a gnome. It's just odd luck.
Well, hopefully together in this merry band we might find a gnome somewhere. You don't have gnomes here, truly. In all of Evening Star, no gnome. Surely, one of you knows a gnome.
I've never
Big
met a gnome.
nose.
I've known some through other ventures, but here, no. Unfortunately, they are too small a frame to work the fields, I've been told.
Well, they're not too small a frame to work the taxes.
Not much to go around. not enough for work for them.
Yes, I suppose the fist does have an iron grip.
Yes, with the amount of money that comes in, you generally settle most affairs within 2 days. Anyway, Kaysen, have you not had Verdilili Chi before?
Never.
It's just a leaf back out in the lowlands around the area. It's kind of it's got a refreshing taste to it, a little bit, kind of
I'll have to
earthy,
be on
but
the
with a
lookout for
hint
it.
of a slight citrus, I suppose.
I'll have to be on the lookout for it.
Across the table, it's more like a lemongrass. At least that's what I'm envisioning it.
I have lemongrass in my mudroom. I should make something out of it. It's so happy out there in the mudroom. The snake. Snake. My headphones are very noise canceling.
All right, I have one. I once met Elminster. He was passing through. I once slew 2 kobolds with my father's saber. I once was involved in a ritual with an archdruid.
And only one of those is alive.
I feel if Elminster made his way through Evening Star of all places, I would have heard that story the minute I got back. The other two,
Has to be Elminster, because even when I was at the university for years, he never even graced us with his presence.
I'm guessing that too.
but an archdruid.
Fine, they're all lies.
Say one of the
Mm.
benefits of coming to see my father is his ability to keep certain things on the down low.
Thank
That much I
So-
could see. No, if you had met Elminster in secret, perhaps in a basement, that much I could believe.
Can you really see me meeting anybody in a basement?
Well, according to you, your father has many regal guests.
And a basement.
And a basement.
So those are 2 major criterias that can be filled right there. You just need to go down there.
I hope
I think Noah is about to protest the characterization of her father's parlor as the basement, but technically it's true, so she sort of falls in quizzical silence. I suppose lying's easier than I thought.
It may come naturally to you if you try enough.
maybe instead of 2 truths and a lie, I was just playing where I would like to be in 5 years. I would like to do all those things.
You wish to take a life, even that of a kobold.
Well, I saw a life get taken today for the first time.
I imagine that must have been your first.
Yeah. I do want to be involved in something heroic. In my mind, I don't know. I
Tilda, you're an adult now, and I think you can hear this. Heroism and murder don't go hand in hand. Sometimes the stories that you'll hear of heroes slaying a beast, or Dark Lord, or bandits, death is the same either way. Heroism is facing your fears, it's accepting them, it's taking a foot in front of the other when it really shouldn't. That's heroism. Taking a life is simple. It's quick, it's easy. Sometimes it's painless, sometimes it's messy. But it's not heroic.
Ultimately, in taking a life, it's about the intent. Do you do it out of cold-blooded revenge, pleasure? Surely a murder. You do it to save another? Maybe there's some remorse in it? Well, surely you're teetering towards heroism. But the difference between a murderer and a hero is generally a hero has allies around them that support their cause. Not everybody supports a murderer. Actually, hardly anybody does.
I
Except
think
the other
that
murderers.
sometimes people support murder reasons as well.
Jewel, can you say that again? You kind of paused during it.
Noe just says, I think in my experience, people sometimes support murderers for the wrong reasons as well.
Maybe they do
Hatred
because a
can
hero.
feel a lot like heroism to a certain kind of person. But that's not really how I see Tilda either way.
Neither do I.
No, not at all.
At least you are never someone who stabs down.
I hope never to be.
She smiles at that.
Before we move on to the next round, truly, riddle me this. Who gave you the sharp, stabby sword? Saber?
It's my father's sword.
And does your mother know you have it?
Yes, although she doesn't like it very much.
Count that as two of us then.
Yes, well. If it's okay, I would like to hold on to the sword for a little while longer.
Why? Do you want me
You-
defenseless out here? There's an elvish invasion.
It's a family heirloom. You can't ask that from her.
I think it's more along the lines of you are more dangerous with it in your hands to us than to the enemy.
That's not true at all.
Tilda, have you had any proper lessons?
Some.
Your wrist is weak. You do not have follow through.
I'm
and you
sorry, are
hesitate.
you a master swordsman? Can you evaluate such things?
No, I can't wield a sword.
Julian, you will not speak to my friend this way. You will not make these requests of her.
I am telling her.
No, I am not accepting anything less than the subject being dropped.
I know that I asked you to keep hold of it, but given context that it is her father's, I think it does belong in her hand. Do promise, Tilda. Perhaps next time that we find ourselves betwixt a roaring beast, that perhaps charging forth is not the place you find yourself. No way. May want to be in front. Cason, perhaps? But I believe that I've taught you many things, and swordplay was not one of them.
Arsinoe, sometimes you're so impressive. I understand, Julian. Kason, can you spar with me tonight? You're a paladin, right?
Can I and should I spar with you are two different questions.
Well, don't hurt me, but why not?
If you're going to spar, at least just wrap the blade so you don't hurt yourself.
I was about to say we could either spar melee or with, I don't know, something else. Not with actual weapons. I'm not trusting my focus of tonight to spar with my actual maul in my hand.
I find myself on my birthday surrounded by wonderful tutors, a best friend, a master swordsman, and a sporgle.
The sporkle.
Sparkle has many talents, I'm sure. We just have yet to discover them. And I'm sure he has yet to discover many as well.
I feel very grateful for all of you. Even in this crazy time, I couldn't have asked for a better birthday.
Yes, well, just remember, you all have so much potential. Just don't be reckless and squander it. As for you, Tilda, where do you see yourself with this sword? Do you see yourself on the front line in armor, fighting alongside everybody else? Or do you see it as more in the back line, supporting your fellow allies? How you wield this sword is very important. And I think you should think heavily on how you're going to use it in the upcoming years. Julian will hand you back your sword.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm big enough for the front line, if I'm being honest.
I don't
Tilda
think I've ever seen
is
a wizard on the front
5'3",
line either.
maybe 5'2", and maybe 110 pounds soaking wet. I might need a little magical help. Maybe that's the best way to use a sword. I seem to have
Well,
some skill in that.
I can at least give you a boost for a day, and that should maybe just give you sort of push into into the next skill level. We can see. I think I've heaped enough things in here that we can see if I can get the spell working. But I don't know the words to it. What do we do? Do we sing happy birthday? How does this I didn't write down the words to the spell. Like, do we light it on fire? We pour some we pour gas in there. Was this
I've never cast it before. What? You're the expert.
the expert of half remembered spells?
Kason, you
Oh,
need more confidence. If you're gonna cast a spell, cast it. Don't just dither around.
that's what I do best. Okay, I'll see if I can try to come up with something. Okay, if it works, this pile should light on fire. So whatever anybody's gonna add it now. Okay. In this time of trial and growth, Morning Lord, watch over us. Especially lay your guiding hands on Matilda Leclarn on this eve of her 18th birthday. Ferry her into adulthood and bless her with strength and wisdom that matches her tenacity. Happy birthday, Tilda. And the pile will go up in purple and yellow smoke and flames.
Ooh.
And enjoy the.
When you give this spell, Tilda is going to pull out her notebook and start writing down the words.
And for the next 24 hours from now, whenever you make an ability check, you can roll a d4 and add to your ability check. Next
Just like
24
all-day
hours.
guidance. Okay, pretty good.
I'm gonna kind of stand there and look at myself like, I got a second spell actually worked.
Kason,
You
that
make
was
a good.
awesome.
It really was. I didn't know I could still do that. This is a good omen, I think. Maybe I remember more than I thought I did. Slowly getting my mojo back. I wasn't always, I don't know, the scatterbrained. All the spells and the fighting abilities are still in here somewhere. I need to just pull them holes. It's better.
Considering you can call magic in the first place, consider that miraculous on its own.
Yeah, didn't realize it till.
Well, circling back to blades and magic and our little birthday girl. You want to be a spellblade. You want to dance my people's dance.
Maybe. I've read about that. I've never seen it.
It's remarkable, truly. I don't have the rhythm. I tried, of course. You all do. It's like a rite of passage, truly.
There are other more human ways to do it that I'm familiar with. I've met a few bards in my day. I've read so much of Volo's work.
Do you know how to play an instrument, Tilda?
No, unfortunately not.
It's a bit part and parcel to being a bard, isn't it?
Yes, my mother always thought that was for philanderers and layabouts.
I've met a few Flanders, layabout bards. Some of them are a little bit, how do I say, more morose, maybe?
Well, I don't know what the future holds for me. But I'm here to learn.
Good attitude to have.
Perhaps it will come to you in a dream.
Or a nightmare. The way you described combat does not seem dreamy.
Believe me, it really is. I could
Sporgle.
avoid it.
Sporgle, do you know how to use a sword?
Sporgle holds up his little goblin kukri thing, and he says, Sporgle, no, but like spear, no.
Oh, a spear. Okay. I don't know if I'm as interested in that. Sorry, Sporgle.
It was certainly a crack shot, though. Just for clarity's sake, did Sporkle have a bow or a crossbow?
Short bow.
Short bow. And Rain will gesture towards your bow.
Ugh.
Does the archer's knife not appease you? Perhaps a magical one at that.
Were you talking to me with it?
It was, yes.
I'm just gonna like grab the sword and say, I think this is for me. This feels like home to me.
When you feel more connected to your weapon, you tend to be able to swing more accurately with it. When you have some connection to not just your weapon, but your armor as well. You know, I painted my own shield. My pauldrons, I painted one. One very important to me painted the other one, and I've always felt more in sync with my armor. I feel like it protects me better than it would if it was not personalized. So if you have a personal connection to something, it might carry you.
I should paint my sword.
Be just a good paint.
Well, we haven't finished our game. Perhaps my round, then.
Yes, Rain, I'd like to hear.
Well, I'm an only child, for one. I have raised the dead. And of all the cities in all of Cormyr, this continent, I have not been to Waterdeep.
That's the lie. Of course, but that means we've raised the dead. How incredible. Anyone else have a
Well,
guess?
you were speaking of doing something with the undead, raising them, I thought, earlier, although it was hard, I think, to parse. You were clearly very upset, but all that to say, I suppose that didn't surprise me because I thought you had already spoken of it.
I feel like you have eldest child syndrome. I'm calling.
I'll break the ice there. I'm in some semblance an only child. I did lose my brother, older, younger sibling. Energy, truly. And I have raised the dead. Or at the very least, abated something that should be undead from dying. And of course I've been to Waterdeep. So no, I had a brother.
I'm sorry. I never knew.
Yeah.
But I remember you telling me a story about Waterdeep. How could I forget something like that?
Did something remind you of him tonight, your brother?
It did. He does not shake his eyes when looking at you. I think we have at least a little one. You capable of lying, Sporgle?
I'm sorry, say again?
Are you capable of lying, Sporgle?
Sporgle not lie.
Of course you do.
Sporgle feels like this is an inquisition all of a sudden. He's looking a little bit flighty.
They don't have to be big things.
Just tell us of things you like or don't. Don't know very much of you.
Yeah, Sporgle, the game is you tell two true things that nobody knows, and you tell one thing that sounds plausible that nobody knows as well, and we try and guess which one is the wrong one. It's a game to get strangers to know each other better, and I think we're somewhat of a stranger. I don't know if you have anything like this in Goblin culture.
Oh, ugh. Oh, Sporgle is goblin. Sporgle likes magics. Sporgle is not goblin.
I didn't know you liked magic.
Ugh.
What about magic do you like? Do you cast magic?
No, Sporgle read books. Sporgle try, but no.
Did you want to be a goblin shaman? I know that's a common occupation among your kind.
No, Sporgle talk to shaman. Teach Sporgle read book. Sporgle want more magics.
Maybe more of a momentous and miraculous day than I thought. A goblin that can read. Perhaps we'll find reading materials in libraries, Sporgle. Is that the loot you're looking for?
Sporgle find library and dungeon. Learn, read magics in dungeon.
Was this dungeon before you got here or after?
Yes, Sporgle. Dungeon bring Sporgle here.
Hmm.
Oh, you came through a portal of some sort.
Yeah,
Ah, interesting.
portal. Yes.
Common isn't your normal language, Sporgle. What is?
Sporgle speaks goblins.
He like raises his hand like, duh.
So was the portal from somewhere else on Drill?
Sporgle not know.
Hmm.
Sporgle think far, very
What
far.
what does your homeland look like?
Forests, for jungle, jungle.
Chult?
Chel-
Did you have like big lizards?
Yeah, big, bro. Yes, big, big.
Really big.
That sounds like Chult.
Certainly haven't been, but that's. If Rain just seems flustered.
Can I roll history to determine if I'm certainly familiar with the language of goblins? It's like Gukliak or something like that. If I remember, like, you know how like you know the first two words in every language. You know, like hello and something like the word for cheers. If I know any.
I think no role necessary. I think you can know a couple basic words. like you said, something like a hello, a cheers, where is the bathroom, where is the library, things like that.
Yeah, my name La Biblioteca. Yeah. So like my name is I'd like to say my name is Tilda in Gukliak. Hello, my name is Matilda Lochlaren.
Oh, Hilda. Okay. Sporgle.
Sporgle. Maybe I could learn some more of your language. I'm somewhat of a language connoisseur.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you can teach me
Teach
some.
Sporgle more common.
Of course, of course. And I've written down some spells in my little book here, if you'd like to read.
Or Magus.
Maybe. I haven't cast all of them, but every time I've heard a spell, I've written it down word for word. There might be something in here that you could learn.
Yeah.
And I've been around the St. Cyrs all my life.
Sporgle seems very open to this idea. He's nodding very vigorously.
I'll hand Sporgle my notebook of every magic spell I've heard throughout my entire life.
Sporgle begins flipping through it rampantly.
This may not be the highest level of accuracy of magic scribing in history.
Giving a book of magic spells to a goblin. We're making all kinds of fascinating decisions tonight. Will certainly turn out interesting.
What's wrong with
My father-
goblins?
Oh, nothing. I just think goblins would have very creative uses for any spells in there.
I hope so.
I just think this will go interestingly.
I feel my father would roll in their grave if they were currently residing in one.
So your necromancy... No, actually,
I'm not a necromancy. I'm sorry, I'm not a necromancer, is what Rain retorted.
sorry. I didn't mean anything by it. In fact, let's move on. No way, where do you want to be in 5 years? And the real answer, not necessarily running your father's business. Where do you want to be?
Well, that is the truth, though. And, you know, your son is the one who's going to be heir, so.
He didn't ever dream of leaving this town? Seeing the spine of the world? Reading in a mage tower in Waterdeep? Seeing the Underdark?
I think she sort of she blushes a little bit and says, "I've left. I've been to see my mother's family. I've gone to see my father's friends in the surrounding cities. I've left and come back, and there's nowhere sweeter in the world than this."
Wow. Does Tilda know where your mother's from? She probably does.
She does. At least I don't think Noe and her immediate family keeps it a secret that her mother is from Thay. In fact, Noe's name is Thayan.
Yep, fair enough. Well, you know what, no way. I'll drag you out of here. You'll come with me. We'll see the
What
world
is
together.
it that you so badly want to see? I've always wanted to know.
I just feel like this can't be it. There has to be a little more. I can't.
More what?
I can't.
What are you missing?
What am I missing? Excitement, adventure, intrigue. I can't hear another summer with the consistency of cow droppings and how many times it's going to rain. I know it's cozy and safe, and it can be really boring here, you know?
I know, I suppose
The only thing I'm allowed to
it's.
be here is my mother. Can't I be allowed to be something else?
Well, I suppose in a town this small, expectations are high. You do stand out more. I don't think that it's a bad thing people think that you are incredibly smart.
Well, well, yeah.
But I do know too that what your mother does is not something that exactly holds your interest, and I know you want more than to tell us the weather for the next 20 years. At least, not the same weather your mother has been telling us, although the psionic storm was new.
I'm sorry. One more time? I missed that part.
Oh, you weren't in the tavern for the weather report? That's right, you came later. Uh, she turns to Tilda. You, I'm sure, remember your. Well, of course you don't. She was saying something about a psionic storm.
Yes,
This
I
was
remember
shortly
it.
before.
Yes, excuse me. Yeah, I remember it. My mother predicts that there's strong psionic energy coming from the north, and it's affecting things in town. Uh, Mr. Severino was very angry with this. Does not like non-provincial explanations for things. But of course, I know my mother has rigorously modeled this, and I know it's true. She has many points of data that support this. In fact, she can't stop talking about it.
Amusing
not-
that a person who has the power to turn into will is skeptic of the existence of science. It seems
I think he's just stubborn, ill-tempered.
Really not one to question your mother. I do believe whatever she says. That is a bit more pressing, isn't it?
Pressing for
So we
whom?
have all of us here in this cave, all the residents of Evening Star, the 50,000 horsemen riding from Mithra North. An owlbear eating the flaming fistman. There's a lot going on. Vampires in your town.
So what do we do?
Soil. Rain just inhale. I wouldn't even know where to start.
Julianne, you came into town recently, which implies you were traveling recently. In your travels, had you heard anything about this psionic energy? Or maybe some evidence of it? We can develop a
Dear,
hypothesis.
I know time is, well, relative to you, but I suppose, but 2 years is not short. Now, granted, I don't leave my lab much, but I have been in the town a while. But I unfortunately have not heard about this psionic energy kerfuffle at all until tonight.
Okay.
Well, perhaps we write ourselves down an errand list for the morning. 1, we find this weather report of the psionic storm. We should at least check on your mother and brother. See whatever they have to say of it. Number 2, I do truly need as much fertilizer as we can possibly manage within the next day. And 3, perhaps we find everyone we can and get them out of here. I don't particularly like the idea of marching a band of refugees down the road, but it feels ill-wise to leave everyone to 50,000 horsemen.
Since we do have a moment of reprieve finally, I have been meaning to ask, what do you plan to do with all that fertilizer?
Give it to someone that knows what to do with it, truly.
It
Uh,
is a town of farmers.
Can you elaborate? How is fertilizer used for anything but helping the crops?
You see a number of things go through Rain's mind as if he's attempting to construct some sort of articulate narrative as to what this fertilizer is truly for. And the weight of being awake for so long hits him in a sudden moment. I have no idea. I've been tasked to find it. I think it's going to help with the vampire situation.
To make a pungent stench to repel them off, I suppose? Mayhaps mix it with a tad of garlic.
Maybe.
Rain,
Hmm.
who asked you for this fertilizer?
That did.
And he said it would help with the vampire problem?
This had a way of making everything seem much more urgent than it initially sounds. And then you find yourself in the middle of Evening Star as it is being sieged. So perhaps I am to believe him a bit more than I thought.
It's a myriad of coincidences all lining up at the same time. They unfortunately can't be unconnected at this point. How long have these vampires allegedly been in Evening Star? I would wholeheartedly hope at this point Willoughby would have at least spotted something out of the norm if they've been here a while.
I feel a parlor trick of a bird wouldn't really be the first thing to notice a coven of vampires.
No, but Willoughby knows the town very well. He carries missives back and forth quite frequently. If something was amiss, a person, mayhaps somebody's daily routine, he wouldn't let me know. When you live in a town for years, you become accustomed to the little in and outs of everybody's personality and days, I suppose.
And yet, allegedly, vampires still pervade an Evening Star. Does anyone stick out in your minds? Obviously, no big figures, not your parents. That would be too obvious.
I suppose I'm not sure what the point of this witch hunt is. That is to say, we are dealing with a number of problems right now, but people going missing, people being drained of blood or murdered, whatever it is that vampires do, we haven't had those issues here in Evening Star.
We haven't.
No. Again, Willoughby would have noticed at least something.
So, if
And
we bear with me here, if you run through the idea that vampires are truly in the middle of Evening Star and they're up to ne'er do well means, what are they feeding on?
that's a good question. It's obviously not other people, because I'm sure somebody would have come to my lab at some point requesting something for it. When you're out of town, they all come to me, Rain. You know this.
And you're doing an admirable job, truly, but the number of people in town also goes down when I leave. Harvest time, you have so many helping hands from surrounding places. How could you keep track of them all?
You're the only physician in town for most of the year. You generally hear quite a bit. Whether it be the rumor from the baker or just some traveling laborer coming in and just telling you about their day to day, you tend to hear about things when they need their bandages or just a basic cough syrup from being out in the rain too long, so to speak.
Very cute. I think, call it a guess, Perhaps we should investigate a little slop of a body in a wheelbarrow in the morning. I don't think anyone really checked their canines, did they?
Are you talking about Elias?
Yes.
He was slaughtered by a bugbear. We saw.
Owlbear, different.
Sorry, owlbear. Right. What's the difference?
I will glance at Sporgle to see if he takes offense to that.
To what?
Goblins and bugbear are like kin.
I don't think he's ever actually seen a bugbear, though. Truth be told.
Because I know they speak the same language and their cultures are fairly enmeshed, but maybe not in Chult.
Mm-hmm. Well, not where Sporgle's from,
Not where
at any
Sporgle's
rate.
from. Yeah.
We're ad-libbing his backstory at the moment.
Yes. The only person in town I've met who could even conceivably be a vampire, other than Rain here, I guess, is Kareen.
You're your drow friend.
She seems very spooky and very nocturnal.
I think Kareen being a vampire would be the least scary
Probably.
to the.
But she doesn't scare me.
I think she should. Perhaps we met a different person.
Oh, she wouldn't hurt me.
Arguable.
No, I think she would.
You do?
I think
Yes.
she'd hurt you as like a bonding. It's like a.
Tilda, dear,
Isaac.
she understands you are young and you carry yourself in a different manner than most, so that's why she's been so lenient with you.
It is possible she follows the more benevolent of their kind's god, but I did once have.
Tree.
Ari, you're cutting out quite a bit. Maybe you want to use your
Oh.
mic.
No, I'm just gonna move it over here.
Oh, yep.
The spider imagery does not give me good hopes for that. I mean, she literally has 3 also, you know, motifs.
I'll admit I missed that description.
Yeah, you cut out again. I think you're just speaking too softly.
I think you are on mute and talking currently through Mike's mic.
But I thought that was the mic. I don't know.
Across the table, who actually saw Erlen's fangs?
Yeah, Tilda doesn't know about it.
Rain did.
Didn't see anything.
I hadn't seen shit.
I wonder if Sporgle would have. He was very focused on him, particularly his helmet.
Can you guys hear me?
Kind of.
Hello. It's weird. It's lighting up.
It says you're muted on Discord, or at least on my screen.
It does too, yeah.
She's speaking through the other computer's microphone.
Oh.
So Mike's thing is lighting up while she speaks. Sorry for just launching us into this big RP thing.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you now.
That's odd. Okay. Mute's off. Okay. Yeah, I was saying earlier that the Kareen's spider motif with literally her cloak of spiders and the different spider themed spells was not giving me good hopes that she doesn't follow Lolth. And then I was just posting in chat that because I've watched the narration so many times, I remember Mike specifically narrated that everyone in the tavern that was there saw the fangs. I remember he said you all see, so any of us that were in there.
I remember that.
Was Noe conscious at that point?
No, you weren't there.
I think you were down and out.
I think that was after you left.
I am being intentionally obtuse about it.
I had just chalked it up to him maybe being part tiefling.
I missed this detail, apparently.
Well, it seems when you're looking out for it, it does stick out. Maybe, sorry, I don't think I was there present when Kareen was initially described. I just got drow lady. And yes, I do think Tilda, she probably would stab you then. to fill in a few gaps, and perhaps while the wound doesn't feel as salted tonight, my brother was kidnapped. I don't know if he's dead.
By whom?
The denizens of the Underdark. They attempted to kidnap me, my mother, and my father, and unfortunately my brother was the only one missing. You can thank a roving band of friendly mercenaries to come save the day, spook them off.
Wow. That must have been stressful.
Yes.
How long ago was this?
20, 30 some odd years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Must have been important targets if they come out of the Underdark like that.
I don't think they were so much looking for important so much as pointy ears.
Mhm. I'm sorry.
Blood feuds, Jesus. Blood feuds run deep.
It is unfortunate.
Just across the table, is he talking about Lorne?
He is.
Okay.
They share the same last name.
Rain, are you a follower of Corellin Lorethian?
I mean, not in the way that the Cinerat's people are.
Who?
Remember just a few moments ago when we were crossing the river and there was the spooky Arc Druid?
The what?
This all just bounced right off your little brain, didn't it?
Now, Rain.
In
We gotta be
brief.
nice to Tilda on her birthday.
You have to be nice to me. It's my birthday.
I'll sugarcoat it a bit, though.
Perfect. I love sugar.
There is an ancient and powerful Arc Druid. He has proposed the idea that Corellin is the one true elven god. We have a pantheon. They all have different things. You have your pantheon. You've just seen the magic of your own, your purple and yellow flame. But I don't think that's the case, no. They coexist. And as what I am, he taps his pointed ear. Of course, in some way, I have reverence for Krellin. It's hard not to.
Krillin is fine. I just don't agree with what his followers are up to nowadays with Arcinerat, the Archdick, leading all of them.
And you said you
Did
saw
that-
him
Just across the river.
across
You didn't
the
spot
river.
it?
In I can't see in the dark like you.
Oh, true, true. Well, it didn't seem like he saw us, so it's probably for the best.
He could see in the dark, and he saw. There's no way. He's a powerful archdruid. He saw everything.
Likely. Although I do think we are the least of his concerns.
Hopefully, yeah. Oof.
I think you're correct. I have a feeling if we were of concern, we would be dealing with that problem right now instead of being in here.
Yeah.
I feel in some ways we're like ants trampling underfoot.
Unfortunately. May it be years ago, that would not be the case, at least for myself, but now you're correct, unfortunately.
There's a lot.
Mistra is a cruel goddess. That's why we partake in alchemy.
That's why you partake in alchemy.
Correct. That's why I partake in alchemy, but it's spread pretty quickly, you have to admit, over the past decade.
I think House Denevere for sowing the seeds.
I suppose.
Again, would not have been my first form of profession. Well, we've at
Was it-
least heard 8 truths, 9 lies. Was it, Tilda? No, I don't think you've spoken. This game hasn't come to an end yet. You can't escape.
Are you speaking to me?
Yeah, Julian, you told me you'd play along.
That is true. That is true. What was it? 2 truths, 1 lie?
Yes, and if it's too much to hold in your head, you can count on your fingers.
Mm, only if you let me use my toes afterwards. Going past 10 can be difficult. Okay. Let me think. Let me think. Well, this is harder than I thought it would be. Well, I am originally from El Terrell. I have traveled west to Waterdeep and to Candlekeep in my earlier studies, and I lost magic, and then I headed east. I studied under a renowned elven alchemist who was part of the Flaming Fist. And I saw Arabelle burn.
You saw Arabelle burn?
Did I?
I'll abstain from this round.
Wow, those all sound believable.
Because they are. I'm doing the opposite of what you did, dear. You told 3 lies, I will tell 3 truths.
You know, the lies are the fun part.
I suppose. But I do have trouble lying sometimes. I apologize.
Sporgle pipes up confidently. Zer, not goblin.
She'll look herself down. I would hope so. I've grown accustomed to being a human. I think I'll stick with it.
I had no idea you were an Elturian.
In my youth, yes. Well, my family's from there. They were Torm-loving zealots, like most people of the town. And, well, I had other interests, and I was proficient in magic. And I headed west and studied under all the mages I could who would accept me as their apprentice, and I got very, very, very good at it. And then years down the road, come along, I suppose, change in occupation of mistress, so to speak. Her attitude changed, and, well, I can't use magic anymore. Willoughby is the last I have of my magic. He's the only thing I was able to keep, and even then, that was just through what I was able to discover in alchemy.
If you could use magic again, would you?
Of course. I mean, at this point, with all I've learned in alchemy, it would be a great boon and drastically speed up what I'm just any kind of research. Being able to use them in tandem would be it would be magnificent, but unfortunately, I can only do what I can. And I only have so much time in this world to do what I can. So unless Mistra decides to give magic back to everybody or the thing sorts itself out, there's just need time. This, unfortunately, just how humans are. My body just doesn't keep up. So
It's a terrible thing to lose something that was once innate to you.
it is. I presume you're talking about Lathander with yourself, but at least he's come back to you. In my, I suppose, realm, whatever you want to call it, a lot of us have been forsaken, so. A finicky wench is what they call her now. Or at least I do.
Yeah, I've heard it.
But, I mean, it was through alchemy. We've learned so much in the past decade. I've studied at the universities. I've learned so much. Proven so much. Pushed the study forward. And we continue to be able to emulate magic more and more every year.
Maybe the future will hold the fusion of alchemy and magic to something even better. Sort of like the
I think so.
fusion of swordplay and magic that elves have.
It's all about the imagination and how you can use your creativity to blend two different sources to make something your own.
No way. It's your turn.
I think she sulks a little because she was hoping to escape this part of the party game. Are you sure everyone else has gone?
Well, I don't think the helmet's really going to speak, will it?
She puffs her cheeks out a little and starts brushing back strands of hair as she thinks, well, like Julianne, I'm not very skilled in lying. And I don't know what to say. It's sort of. I don't think any of you really consider me a stranger at this point, and there's nothing I could say that would make you trust me or like me more. So
Oh, no way. Just have fun. Just make something up. It doesn't matter if we catch you.
she looks confused at the use of the word fun, but finally she huffs out another prissy sigh and says, "All right, well, let's see. I'm allergic to roses. I once chased a shooting star right till the very end where it landed in the earth. And everything will be okay."
It has to be the second one.
It's three truths. Okay, I can believe it.
Rain will rummage through their pack briefly and brandish a wilted rose at you.
Oh,
she, she jumps back.
Well, that much is true. Duly
Why
noted.
do you have that?
A florist, just not a very good one.
Oh no, my father had to tear out all the rose bushes after I was born.
you didn't chase a shooting star. No way.
Did so?
Did you? What was at the end?
Well, it wasn't there when I found it in the end. It was just sort of this hollow in a tree somewhere, a great deal northwest.
Ooh, it burned out a tree.
Mm.
How exciting.
And I stayed and I looked for a little bit, but I could not find the star afterwards.
That means you think everything's not going to be okay.
Someone's very confident of what genre of story we're in.
Maybe I'm not lying right. It just seems like one of those things that, even if it's not the truth, you have to say it with utmost conviction. That is something that my father would do. And I suppose even if it's not true, we will have to make it be true.
You shouldn't borrow anguish and pain from tomorrow. Live for today. Everything will be okay. And it always ends up fine. You just go forward. You can't worry about the future. You're just making yourself suffer more. What ifs are interesting, so to speak.
No way, I'm not going to let anything bad happen to you.
Hilda, you can't promise something like that.
Watch me.
She sort of laughs and says, "All right, can we get to the part where we give you presents?"
Yeah, sure. Thank you for playing my stupid little game.
It was actually more entertaining than I thought it would be. I had fun. Thank you.
Try not to make that the last bit of fun we had. As Rain is quipping, he will make his way over to Arsinoe in the bedroll, I presume, and gingerly take the package that they had given them and try to subtly smush it back into their hand. I think this is the time. Does Arsinoe take it back?
She does. It sort of takes her a moment, but she finally reaches out and takes the package and then sort of shoves it over at Tilda. It's pretty small. It fits in her hand.
Oh, it's so exciting. I will tear the package open with no regard for maintaining the structure of the wrapping paper.
Inside is a little box, and in the box, there is a bracelet. It is golden with an enamel carvings outside of both something in a celestial script and little forget-me-nots in like bright powdery blue, sort of the same blue that matches the river. Um,
I assume you've made
and
this. Like a little friendship locket.
Oh, well, I'm flattered, but it would take me ages to learn how to make something this intricate.
I've already clasped it around my wrist. Thank you. I love this.
Well, if you read the inscription, it's enchanted. I had my father help me with it. That part I did do, but it should help you when your brother keeps stealing your booklight.
Awesome. I can't wait to see the look on his face. Oh, it lights up. Is the-
Yes, it has the light cantrip. It allows you to cast the light cantrip.
I will try and cast it without knowing the activation word. No way, does it work?
Is Tilda saying anything else, or is she just like staring really hard?
She's just
at
like
it?
manifesting it, similar to how the message spell happened. She just willed at it.
I feel like I would make you roll Arcana for it.
Yeah,
Mike,
do it.
what do
You're
you
the
think?
GM right now.
Yeah, roll Arcana.
All right, doing it. Natural 1.
That is so fucking loons.
So we're all sort of sitting in a circle watching Tilda stare very ferociously at this bracelet on her wrist, and the air is kind of stale. Noah keeps looking back nervously at the wilted rose. There's like a croaky frog outside that sounds like bodily noises. It's awkward. The vibe is awkward.
Oh, I guess I don't know how to use it. You'll have to show me.
Yeah, and she reaches out and takes her wrist, Tilda's wrist, holding it, and then traces the inscription in celestial over it, and just shows her what the activation words would be to activate this cantrip.
Thank you for making me this. No way. I'm going to wear it all the time.
Well, you needed something to remind you of me when you go out into the world.
Sporgle.
Sporgle looks up from reading Tilda's book. Oh,
You know, you're travels, do you have perhaps loot that you would be willing to part with? Tilda gave you knowledge, a book, a nice gesture. It's her birthday. We know you have those too. Something shiny, perhaps?
Sporgle have birthday.
We do. Later. I'll rub the salt in that wound later. But for now, something fancy, something shiny, something nice.
So Sporgle has kind of picked up on this because they don't really have birthdays, but they do have a very important coming of age ceremony, which is basically what he thinks this is. And he's looking through his bag, and he knows he has to give up the one thing he really doesn't want to, because that's generally how these things work. And he's looking down in his bag. He's, oh. And he pulls out the bottle of mead that he grabbed, and he walks over and he says, "Duft.
Sporkle, thank you so much.
Oh,
This is local alcohol.
the mead.
You purchased it for me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome."
I'm going to uncork it, take the cap, fill it up, and offer it to Rain first. We should all take a drink together.
Over your shoulder as you're pouring the drink into the cap and not straight into your mouth, Rain gives a sagely nod. But he'll take the cap and down. Cheers.
I'll pass,
And pass it
around
back to you.
and offer it to everybody else, including you, Sporkle. And I'll take the last hit. I have never drank anything before, so I cough and sputter at the end. This is what adults do. Oh, God.
Oh, it is swill, but it's birthday swill.
Birthday swill.
Julianne, well, I know it probably wasn't marked on your calendar, but surely you're prepared for such an occasion too.
Oh, actually, I am. Yes. I know how much. It's actually something I've been preparing for a while. I know how much Tilda loves her learnings. I apologize, Tilda. It is not complete. I lost track of time, but Jillian will reach into her book she maintains, and out of the back, she will take out some loose papers and hand them to you. Add these to your book. Bind them well. It is basic recipes should you ever be in need of potions or anything as such.
Thank you, Julianne. This is a wonderful gift. You know I will practice these.
This is research I figured out myself, so it's not quite widespread, but I hope you use it well.
I appreciate this, and I'll cherish this. I will.
Obviously,
Sorry, go ahead.
obviously, come by the lab sometime. Maybe next week or two, and I'll have more prepared for you.
And I'll show you what I've worked on. If we're back here in a week's time, sounds like we have a lot to do.
We do, but I dare not abandon my lab so frivolously.
Oh, I was just gonna put it in the teacup. I'm back. I went to go get mead.
As Kaysen makes their way back in from the mouth of the cave, Rain will gingerly make their way over and somewhat under their breath. Something twee, something kind. Surely in your bag of tricks, a birthday present might provide it some. The ceremony was beautiful, but an object, perhaps? Something shiny.
I don't have I travel pretty light. I'm usually on the road. Most of what I have is art or
Ooh, I
tea
do
or
have
something of that
paper.
nature.
She
I
wants nice
ah,
paper.
I make my own paper actually.
You make your own
I always have
paper?
plenty to spare. I do.
Tilda, you're not supposed to be listening about the surprise present.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'll take a little handful of pages. They're kind of like a rough, wavy sort of texture, like clearly just sort of pressed between probably rocks, to be honest, just like made out in the field. There's little inclusions of wildflowers and herbs and things like that in there. And I will wrap it up in just a little square of um, red and purple cloth and hand it to Tilda.
I will take it, reach into my pack, and produce the ink vial that was given to me by Rain.
Mm.
I will dip my quill into it and pen Matilda Lochlarn on the top of the first page. Does it take the ink, or since it's very it's made out of wild plants, like how much does it actually stain?
The paper is pretty porous. It's pretty porous. You don't need a whole lot of ink.
So
A
it
little
gobbles
goes
up
a
the
long
ink.
way.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, look, stationery. I could be one of the Saint Sears.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I travel pretty light. I don't really have much interesting stuff on me, but I guess handmade paper with local herbs is no, I guess that is nice when I think about it.
Thank you all so much. What a wonderful birthday. The best 18th birthday a girl could ask for. A woman could ask for.
There you go. There's one last thing. It's an ancient elvish druidic rite. I think your people have a very similar one. Rain will produce a tiny candle and light it. Place it on the little desk that's where the helmet was. Seat it the best they can. I think you're supposed to blow it out and make a wish.
When I go to blow it out, I'll say in Elvish, I know I'm not supposed to say my wish. And then blow it out. So what happens next?
Adulthood,
Ah, yes. Responsibility.
taxes, something along
Taxes.
those lines. Your mother didn't tell you. I think for now, I'll rest our weary little head. What do you think of tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Not today, really, but the morning. There's much to do. Many to save. Fertilizer to get. Vampires to slay.
Psychics to find.
Psychics to find.
Corellin ass to kick. Or sorry,
Sure.
Corellite ass to kick. Not planning to kick a god's ass. Not yet.
Much to do. Well, thank you all for this birthday. I hope you all sleep well.
What order were we taking watch and were any of us like doubling up on watch? I remember Julian had been planning to stay up first.
I think it was Julianne, Tilda, Sporgle, and Rain.
Yeah,
that order?
so
I'm also keeping watch.
Rain will catch the second half of that since elves sleep 4. So they'll be with Sporgle for 2 and then by themselves for another 2.
And then we have No Way with traumatic brain injury.
Yep.
Sleep in the night away.
Would you
Yeah,
do me
and
a
Princess
favor?
and the Pea privilege.
Would you do me a favor? And if it's any different from what we had last time, we just put it in chat so I can update my thought.
I'll write it in Avernus chat.
Yeah, mine originally said Julian, Case, and Tilda Sporkle Rain.
Okay. I'll just write that down.
Yeah, it'll be nice if we can split it in that way. Nobody misses out on much sleep.
Usually, with traumatic brain injuries, you don't want them to sleep,
I
but
know. But we're
This
no
This
is
is
the
what
wizards.
I checked
deal.
last time. That was my medicine check, but the DM said it was okay.
Okay. So now we have to do level ups.
Mm.
I could use advice. I have 3 sketches laid out for Tilda.
Well, did the arguments and petty back and forth paint the picture anymore for you?
Somewhat.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we good with like a $5 by chance before we get into this?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, sure.
That would be awesome.
Oh, it's 6:44. You think the stew is ready?
Oh, I
It's
hope
got
so.
Stew! It's got it. Also, did you see me just that need
I did.
the whole cup?
Yes, you're insane.
What are you drinking, Dave?
Let me turn my camera on.
It's
Rum from Barbados.
Oh, nice. Dude, I have so much alcohol still in my kitchen.
You don't drink anymore, though, right?
No, not really.
Yeah, you just have other people drink it.
I mean, like, I drink with my friends, but that's about it. I don't drink by myself at all anymore.
Ugh. I rarely do, too.
Yeah. I do kind of miss our drunk Civ Fridays, though. Or Civ Saturday.
Sippy Saturday, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you already know what? You have like a special class, like a herbalist or something, alchemist, right?
Yeah. Pretty much what I can do. Julian, I envision her as mostly support, and it's pretty much just going to be based on what herbs she has available to her. So it is. I mean, besides like cantrips, it's pretty much just going to be up to what Mike throws at us, or what I have in my lab for building spells, I suppose. I don't know. I haven't ironed that much out. But the idea for her is to be mostly support with a little bit of offense, but because it feels like some of the more ridiculous spells would be kind of hard to emulate with alchemy. And I think the only reason why Willoughby works as a kind of potion is because that's just like her familiar, and it's like the last of her, like the all the magic that kept with her is Willoughby.
I like the idea that magic's latent in the world, even if Mistral's not on the throne, and minor
Mhm.
cantrips are not seen as magic, but just a thing people can do.
Yeah, there's potential in everything, and that's what
Yeah.
a lot of Julian's research is just drawing out that potential, whether
Yeah.
it just be magical or anything else, either in people, herbs, things. But she's had the most success with alchemy, replicating what she used to do. So that's what she's pursued.
That makes sense.
Well, see some pretty magic cards.
Absolutely.
I bought the Peach of Momoro Secret Lair.
Oh, is that Visions of Beyond? Oh, that looks dope.
I wish my camera wasn't so blurry. I'm sorry.
I've seen this though. It looks good. It looks better. These all look better in paper.
I love her art though. I'm so glad they gave her her own thing.
Totally.
I love the time sleeve though. So good.
That's so weird.
Psychic Crow. I know you've already seen him, but
Looks good, yeah.
Drown in Dreams. I think this one is probably my favorite out of the 5. And Aether Eyes is just brutal.
Oh god. Yeah, that's pretty good.
She's melting.
Yeah.
Did you do the Foundations pre-release?
No, I didn't. But I've drafted a few times online. Did you?
No, I haven't bought any of it. I didn't do the pre-release. I didn't buy any of it. I just don't
Well,
have the
half
money
of
right
it's
now.
reprints, so.
I know.
Whenever there's a reprint set, I just feel like I already own everything in Magic. What do I need reprints?
Yeah, I just want the doubling season with the cats.
It is cute.
That is cute.
I need it for Rin and Siri.
I haven't bought any of it either, to be honest. Don't really intend to.
I think once finances settle up, I might go pick up a couple play boxes. But that's about it.
I want the Gorgon Lady, and I really haven't even seen the entire set.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that shit is getting manipulated. Super bad.
Yep. Yeah. If you're paying above $220 for a collector's box, you're an idiot. Part of me kind of wishes I pre-ordered it, even though I didn't have the money, because I could have bought collector's boxes at $180 each.
You never know, though. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a set that's supposed to be in print for 5 years. I feel like even for the chase pretty things, those things are going to plummet in market value as more get printed.
Hopefully. We can only hope.
I love how it's like fucking 50 or 60 degrees out and it's sweltering in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's just those I trust with great secrets. Look at this fucking chip I got. Look how fucking big
Oh
it
my
is.
god, that's so
Oh my
big.
god, that's a perfect chip.
It's the king of crab chip. I didn't even eat it out of reverence.
That's a crab chip?
I love crab
That's
chip.
a whole
I live
fucking
for crab chip.
bro.
I love it. It's just Old Bay. There's no crab in crab chip, but
Old Bay's great, dude.
it's not even really Old Bay either, because they make Old Bay chips and they suck in comparison to the, I think it's Utz crab chip, in quotations.
Oh, it's more like butts.
Got him.
When we went to leave the Mexican restaurant, they offered us hot sauce, and my dad asks,
Okay.
"Is it really hot?" And he goes, "The red one's hot, but the green one's like mild or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for any, but he gave it to us anyway. I got a burrito, and it came with crinkle fries. This will become apparent in a moment. I pour the red sauce on my burrito.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's ketchup for the fries.
Oh no.
Oh.
It was still fine, but I was It's like that's not spicy at all. That's kind of sweet and a little tomatoey. Was oh, that's just ketchup. Fuck.
I don't like that very much.
Yeah, I don't either. I was gonna run out and get something. We were talking about it earlier, but I ended up just I just made some some like one of those little skillet meal Chinese skillet meals and just threw that on some leftover rice I had.
Mm-hmm.
I just did the dishes while everything cooked.
Imagine it being dark out and two elves be like, "Yeah, you didn't see this fucking thing?
You fucking idiot.
You fucking inferior specimen."
Yeah, but your mom let you have 2 light cantrip.
Sounds
Is
awesome.
that is that effectively what your book light did?
Yeah, it's enchanted with light, the cantrip.
Sick.
I like specifically asked for this type of item.
I don't know why, but every time you whip out that book, I always think of the little lights that used to be attached to the old Game Boys.
Well,
That's
that's what I'm
exactly, yeah.
envisioning too.
Is that what it is? Okay.
I actually own a book light, so it's just a
Mhm.
book light, but I
Mhm.
also owned one of those Game Boy lights.
Is it like
I
one of
did.
the bookmark ones that like?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a cantilever arm with a little
Mm-hmm.
illumination bulb.
Nah, man, I'm just gonna burn my house down with a nightlight in my bed.
So smart.
I miss those little Game Boy lights that had like there was like a case around the Game Boy and it would open up and light it.
My parents made me use that because I had like a magnifying glass on the screen and they thought the screen would ruin my eyes.
Yes.
My brother-in-law called it the grandma screen.
Kids won't know what it's like to be have no backlight in their fucking handheld in the back of a minivan, using streetlights to play your shitty little Pokemon game.
It's so true.
Oh god, I remember that.
And every parent had the universal lie of it's harder to drive with the light on inside the car.
It is though. It is
My
actually
parents said
harder
it was
to drive.
illegal. It's not illegal.
It's neither. You just press on the gas.
Yeah, the Game Boy black and white screen was very unforgiving in the dark.
But then they came out with the Sega one. God, what was that called?
Game
the Game
Game
Gear.
Gear.
Game
And
Gear.
that thing drained fucking batteries like it was like you put like 8 fucking AA batteries in there and it drained them in 2 hours.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
Like it
Mhm.
was bright. You could actually play it in the dark, but at what cost?
That was a scam by Big Battery. The
It really
Duracell
was.
core batteries.
I played this game called Outrun Europa for the Game Gear, and it was impossible to finish it before the batteries ran out.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
We
Didn't
had
have, like,
Snoik the Hamhorg and like 2 X-Men games that would confuse the fuck out of me because I had watched like some fucking COVID era like documentary about some of these X-Men games. And they're like, yeah, it only existed on PC. And I was like, I played these games. I definitely did not play them on PC. And it turns out they just ported them to the Game Gear. It's the exact same fucking thing.
So we're all here. I'm gonna ask my question about character building.
Mm.
I have 3 concepts for Tilda. For I carry a sword and I use magic. One is I just start fucking taking levels.
What was it? One a wizard, one a fighter.
And one in ranger. The second one is I'm just a bard, and I don't have an instrument, but I just use my annoying way of over-explaining as my instrument. It feels a little contrived, if I'm being honest. I just don't like the idea of being tied to an instrument because it just doesn't fit my character at all.
I think that, like, just across the table, I'm playing a druid in quotation marks.
Right.
Like, that's my mechanics. Like, sometimes it's just a whatever fits best.
And the third one is level ranger wizard. Because I'm not like trying to be Sylvan or anything, but I don't think fighter completely befits what my affect is.
That makes sense. I don't see Tilda in heavy plate armor or something.
Yeah, and the original ranger mold was honestly just Aragorn, who doesn't do any magic. He just like,
Yeah.
I smell the trees and I know there's orc blood. You know. Anyway, so I don't know which one of these to pursue. I requested the feat dueling already. When I started my character with the caveat that it would not activate until I had a level. So I would pull out a sword, thought I was good at it, but I wasn't. Anyway, so this is what I'm going for, like kind of a magical protections with a sword.
So I would make the argument that I think Bard actually does fit her really well. I don't know that the requirement that you have to play an instrument is like to me an orator is also a bard and she's really good at telling stories, and I feel like the inspiration mechanic would actually fit her really well. So I'd be like, just use your sword as the spell casting, or find something else that isn't an instrument, like the book or the quill or something.
There's both a College of Lore and a College of Eloquence, which I think fits this idea. Okay, that's good feedback. Thank you.
I mean,
I
what
also
more
think the bird fit.
beautiful mute? Go ahead.
Say that again, Casey.
I was just gonna say, you know, the sound of your sword hitting an enemy is also the sound element to a bard.
So elvish. What an elvish coded statement.
I also think the bard fits pretty well. Like, you have a smattering of little stories or what have you, and that definitely plays into like the jack of all trades trope. And two is, how snarky do you think the Tilda is going to end up? Are we going to rub off on you too bad? Because that is lore bard.
I don't want to spoil the punch, but yeah, I'm going to be snarky.
I think lore bard's perfect then.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for your help. I will design it now. Is anybody else going through stuff? What is everybody thinking for their own shit?
I'm eating up exactly what Mike laid out on me on a plate. That fucking subclass is sick. Mechanically speaking, I don't view Rain as much of a healer as much as they are pretending to be a healer. I'm going to have healing word, but we also have two paladins across the table. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to have a lot of big heals. I'm more of a, oh no, you're dying, please stop. Not so much as...
Bold of you to assume Kason was so sure about taking some kind of healing goody two-shoes path.
You get lay on hands one way or the other.
Well, what's funny is Kason was very inspired by both No Way and Ed, and also the strong, just unshakable desire to kick Erlen's ass to take an oath of vengeance. But actually, Rain's mention of just the way he described a vampire as, you know, something undead that's like on this path of vengeance that they've been on so long that they can't get off of it. Kason just had this moment of like, ooh, don't want that to be me. So I'm going towards kind of a similar, but not quite oath of vengeance.
We have the enigmatic Sporgle. Do you have a subclass in mind? I assume you are a rogue.
That is correct. He's going Arcane Trickster.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah!
I like that.
You have Julianne with... I'm assuming you're also taking the Mike-provided subclass, yeah?
Of course.
And what can we expect from Julianne on the combat field?
Mostly support magic. My envisioning of her was, it's hard it feels like it'd be really hard to emulate some of the more complex magics with alchemy currently until maybe more discoveries can be made. And even then, I feel like at that point, you probably need some kind of infusion of magic to get it to that point. So, whatever she can do is mostly going to be determined by the herbs she has on hand at the lab or finds. So, it's going to be a very robust toolkit, I suppose. The cantrips will be usable because, I mean, like the light, it's just a glow stick you can turn on and off. She has Firebolt, which is just emulating just fire, and that's easy to do.
Oh wow, this tea is as good as I remember it being.
And what?
I was just thinking out loud. I don't think I've had blackcurrant tea since I was in Japan. It's as good as I remember it being.
It's so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Damn, tea sounds really good right now.
Yeah, blackcurrant. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I posted my my oath in the channel. I'm taking the oath that Mike made, Oath of Dawn, but I just tweaked it a little bit to remove language regarding fire, because for obvious reasons that would be a no-go for Kaysen, because it's his number one fear is fire. So I removed that and I just replaced it with like radiant damage. But I'm sort of making a build of someone who fights better when they're closer with their friends, like physically, and then also someone who like is able to buff their friends from proximity. And then I also over time want to take some abilities and things like that that are kind of related more to Oath of Vengeance, of like, hey, smack my friends and you're a goner. So I'm going with like I think my fighting style was interception. Let me go.
So Kayson's our tent pole, is what you're saying.
Or the what?
The tent pole, the centerpiece. The thing holding us up. You're the like center tank. What have you? Not that tanks are real in D&D, but the vibes of
I
it.
wouldn't quite say. I mean, paladins are inherently tanky, I think, no matter what build you go for, but I'm almost going for more of a buffing sort of flavor of the physically closer we all are and the more just like emotionally and logistically in sync all of us are, the stronger our attacks will be, something kind of like that. So I think my fighting style will be interception, which is when a creature you can see hits a target other than you within 5 feet of you with an attack, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage the target takes by 1d10 plus your proficiency bonus to a minimum of 0 damage, etc., etc. But just stuff sort of that flavor.
Kayson uses a maul, correct? Too big, two-handed beat 'em stick.
So I have been told his actual weapon on his character sheet is a mace, which is 1d6. But for flavor reasons, it's this beast, which is a maul. So it's a maul that does 1d6, and I don't know, it's made out of aluminum or some shit, so he can still wield it one-handed. So we're calling it a quote maul, but it does 1d6
I see.
bludgeoning.
It's a pity it wasn't owlbear mace.
Or sin away. What oath? I assume you're still a paladin.
I'm so curious about this.
Oh, I feel like she's the most straightforward. I mean, I designed the character already with this specific subclass in mind, but Oath of Purity was designed for her. So she will be a tanky paladin. She'll sort of probably be the one leading the charge, not necessarily like to do violence, but to be the one with like the shield up in front. She has a polearm. I think the sisters that were taught at the chapel where she was educated, I think, were taught to defend against mounted riders. So the idea is like weapons you could use against people on horses with. And I think what's cute is her aura of vulnerability, which I think I'll have to double check, but I think it gives you advantage. It definitely buffs you on all charisma checks, but treats any failure as a critical one. So just
remember
imagine
reading that
Noe
one.
making puppy eyes next to your character the entire time. They're doing their impassioned teenagery speeches.
Please no. It's very funny. So your point, man.
Yeah, but also clearing conditions like healing, that sort of thing. I'd love to be in a world where D&D healing is a little more complex than just wait until somebody goes down and then cast healing word, but we'll see in practice how this shakes out.
I like that. Yeah, one of my favorite spells, as far as just roleplay opportunities and flavor, was incorporated into my oath as just like an oath ability that can be used once per long rest. Um, I'm looking forward to getting use out of Compelled Duel. I made a modified version of it.
Yeah, that will be really fun too. I think that really plays into Kaysen's whole like, you don't hit my friends, only I can hit my friends. Wait, what? Sort of deal. But I think what's interesting is just that his oath has ended up being so violent focused. Whereas I think with Noe's, I kind of wanted to design it more around this idea of like you have more options than just attack somebody.
Yeah, I like this one because I actually added, I went back and edited the custom oaths document just a couple minutes ago. And I like it for the option of like extreme violence, but also non-lethal. Like I added a stipulation of being able to set like the maximum terms for compelled duel and stuff like that. But I like the idea of my character being one of like, hey, don't fuck with my friends or you'll have a really terrible time. Like I won't murder you, but you'll wish you're dead kind of thing. Like, yeah, man. I won't kill you, but I'll break every bone in your body.
Yeah, just for diplomacy's sake, it's really hard to come back from my friend just tried to break every bone in your body.
Yes. I think because of Kaysen's like personality and backstory and stuff like that, I wanted his abilities to reflect like this growing feeling of okay, I'm like tired of being the butt of every joke, like I want people to like look at me, pay attention to me, like, all of us in this room are capable fighters, like I want you like look at me while I'm fighting you kind of
Yeah,
thing is what his
absolutely.
oath was built around.
I think that they share a lot of characters I see share this theme of how do you step up, how do you lead, and then can you lead without being brutal about it in your authority? What does responsible authority look like? That sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think a major theme of this oath is don't underestimate any of us.
Absolutely. He's seen too many he's seen his friends try to be nice and then get knocked out on their asses. So he's like, that's not gonna happen again. That makes total
Yeah.
sense to me.
He also saw you smack a poacher, so that memory is just getting treasured forever. Like, okay, yes, paladins are allowed to bitch slap poachers. Writing that down.
You're allowed to draw strong boundaries as a paladin. In fact, you're kind of encouraged. In fact, you have to.
Sure.
So who's taking secret necromancy skills?
My brother, he's dead.
Maybe.
He's not dead.
Yeah, you don't know.
He's canonically dead. I
Yeah,
got a
he's
little
dead.
epilogue. He got stabbed in his own little hut in the
Oh, that's
swamp.
true. This is post Eden. I forgot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a letdown. Eden.
No.
Eden.
But no, in a lot of ways, I did want to make Rain a bit of an inverse, like reflection of a similar character. I didn't get to really play Lorne to their fruition, so I think it would be fun to play off a little bit of like they're a necromancer, and then Rain had resurrected in some sense a vampire, so the same vibe, but in a different place.
He's very funny. I'm enjoying him, and especially his dynamic with Julianne is very funny. It's like, okay, we have to wait for mom and dad to stop fighting.
I really did intend on Rain being a much more impressionable teenage character, but I felt that the dichotomy of having at least one adult available.
It's hard as an elf too, because honestly, just you're in a completely different place emotionally.
Julian has a lot of sympathy for the elves, mostly just because she's worked with so many of them in the Flaming Fist and other endeavors. And I mean, hell, her alchemy teacher is an elf, so I think that's why she just gets along, in quotes, gets along with Rain so well.
Rain's supposed to have an air of elves are clearly better than you, but I kind of like you anyways. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am obviously a piss poor example of an elf. Was raised with too light of a hand and just too hyper and emotional, and just sort of strayed further and further from elves as I fit in less and less.
You are a half elf, right?
No, full elf, wood
Full
elf.
elf. Okay.
Who would have
But
known?
he's just, yeah, no, he's a delightful little spaz, and that's why Erlen's, trying to welcome him back into the fold. Like, dude, I was never in the fold. Shut up.
Nah, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Kaysen spent most of his days, up in a treehouse, eating worms, stargazing, tipping cows. Poking owl bears. Had a class question and then it went away. Oops.
Oh yeah, the only other thing I was gonna say is right now all of her levels are going straight into Paladin. I was playing around with trying to take like a level or a few levels in the future of Sorcerer, just because she does have that connection with her father, and then but in the Sorcerer class you get to designate your bloodline, which comes with a lot of like cool role playing things that you don't get otherwise. But it's a little bit difficult, I think, to combine the two classes because they don't really orient themselves around the same kind of strategy. And also in the past, especially with like Nothing Gold and then with Eden, who cross class between Druid and Cleric, I end up creating these builds that are supposed to be really role play focused, but then end up not being very effective in combat. So I'm trying to do something different.
I will let you know across the table. It is super meta for the paladin sorcerer to happen. Having the spell pool to dump into smites is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, but everything that I look at says it's only worth it and like when you get closer to level 10 or something.
It's more like a 2-level dip into paladin to get smite, and then the rest goes into sorcerer is the like meta build if you want to be a
Okay.
powerful character. But any admixture of those things, you get a lot of
But
utility
then
out of
my
sorcerer.
oath,
Yeah, then
my
your
oath
oath does,
feats.
and we're postponing getting a cool unicorn.
I absolutely love that Jules subtly recoiled at the accusation of being a power gamer.
I mean, realistically, we don't have a lot of combat in these games. So I think it's okay to have like a immensely powerful character. If you read what Brenner's fucking nonsense,
Oh, that was amazing.
36,000
Yeah.
radiant damage, I'm like, this is
Yeah,
fucking cool.
Nothing Gold fell to a single disintegrate spell
I thought it
in
was
like
kind of
one
cold.
round of surprise combat.
It was both.
Oh, it was both. You're right. You did die repeatedly. Just pump that con stat. It's fine.
It's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Take toughness. It's a good feat.
Awareness.
Yes.
Are we using the new D&D system, or are we still sticking with 5e?
Great question. You're muted.
Hi. Okay, hi. What if I told? What if I hold on?
He's gonna say it doesn't matter. Choose
No,
whichever
it's
you want.
I'm getting so much feedback that it's like hard to talk because I can hear myself so clearly. Assume until otherwise that we're on vanilla 5e, but so much of this game is homebrewed or so much of this game is customized that I don't think it really matters. I'm going to be honest with you. So if you remember from the Sparrow player interviews, I asked you on a scale of 1 to 7, what is your 5e knowledge? If you did these interviews, you will recall that I rated my own 5e knowledge as a 3 out of 7, and I think that is still accurate. So these games are extremely systems light. If there's something you like from 1 D&D or 2024 D&D or whatever we're calling it now, I'm happy to implement it for you. Just tell me what you want, but expect that like I was telling Ari earlier, a lot of stuff I'm basically still writing in like third. Like in fact, you may have caught during session 2, I asked somebody to make a reflex save. So there's like lots
Yeah.
of stuff like that. So I'm not too concerned about, do we conform to the current ideals of what Wizards considers to be like modern D&D or whatever. I would much rather you have character concepts that allow your role play to flourish than does this meet their current balance goals. I don't really care what Wizards balance goals are. I care about, does this game feel good and does your character meet your role play objectives. Okay, and please don't respond until I put my headphones back on. Okay, thank you.
It's too late. I've responded.
I'm just glad that my spell list is 50,000 spells that are the spell and then the legacy spell. I click on the wrong one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same. Thanks, D&D Beyond.
Yeah, that's how mine is too. And some of the the new spells work drastically different from their legacy ones. So. Some are better, some are the same. It just depends.
Hey, you guys are the spells. You like spells.
I like spells. I'm currently going through spells. I'm going to paste my character sheet into our chat
Please do.
and
Yes.
live ask you a few questions that I have about it.
Okay, sounds good. I have the microphone. Okay. It is so hard to talk while I'm getting like the live feedback of myself. Okay, so I'm gonna take my headphones off when I talk. Hmm? Well, technically, it's your. Oh, I could do that. Yes, now I have you at 0%, so that actually works. Okay, hi. Great. Okay, hello. That's so much better. Thank God. It was like being harassed by myself. You know what I mean? It's like I'm up here talking to myself about D&D. Like, fuck off, Mike. Um, okay, David, you have questions about something about your character sheet, or is this still pending? You're going to be posting it in a little bit.
The second one.
Okay. If anyone does have any character questions, now's a great time to ask.
I do. So I'll just ask it over the table. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm Bard, School of Lore. There's an ability called Cutting Words, which is after a die is rolled, but before it is determined that it succeeds or fails, I get to influence it. Specifically, a die from you. The way you proctor D&D is you just say it hits or it doesn't. And we're not playing in person, so I can't see the die physically fall. How would you like to do this? I don't want to be annoying about this, and I will be as honest as possible. But I don't
No,
want
you're
to
not being annoying.
No, like during session. I guess we are in session, but you know what I mean. Like,
I know what you
actually,
mean.
that hit. No.
You don't want to be disruptive during combat. You don't want to, especially because I have a way of, I think this is what you're getting at. I have a way of, as soon as I know whether it hits or misses, I'm often off to the races giving a description or something like that. And you don't want to cut that off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me, if I may, let me take a second and read the ability text for cutting words just to make sure, or you were going to say, go ahead.
Yes, please read it. And also, I feel completely unmarried to this specific ability, and it could be easily replaced with something that comports better with the flow of the campaign.
Yeah, flow was not at the top of my mind, but that does come up. A reason I pushed you towards it was because cutting words was the snark I was referencing.
I did understand.
But yeah.
Yes. I just wanted to make sense. So.
No, 100%.
Take a look
Totally.
at it.
Looking.
I'm taking a spell that I think nobody here has ever cast or seen cast.
Skywrite.
Not skywriting. That one's ridiculous. I've done that before. Nether's Mischief.
I've
Oh,
never
it's
even
new
heard
to
of
me.
that.
Is it
You know
new
what's funny?
to 1E?
It's Fizzband, so it's Dragonlance
Uh,
related.
You know, my bard had cutting words. This tells you a lot about again about my mechanics knowledge. Um,
This is like
I
intended
think
for tabletop, right? The die falls, you
it
it
look
is.
is
at it. No, you say, wait a minute.
mechanically, it is incredibly powerful.
Oh, unbelievable. And if I know if it hits, it's way too strong,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
it's mostly applied
Yeah.
towards in the same action you can go control magic like hold person and then they roll their save and you go hold person.
Didn't say the magic. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to have too many opportunities to use it. Both, you know, people have mentioned the general combat lightness of the game, but I mean, I guess you could use this in out of combat situations as
Use it
well.
on checks.
Yeah. What about something where? Okay, so I have two thoughts. One is I could customize this for you in a way that I think would fit a little bit better. Another thing we could do is maybe give you like a keyword or something like that. Or, you know what else I love are optional reactions, something where like maybe you have to, maybe if you use it and you don't know if it's like if you wager incorrectly, like if you say, "Oh, I want to interrupt that. I'm pretty sure that hit," or something like that, and you get it wrong, maybe there's a penalty or
Or you could
something
use
like
it
that.
something preemptively like picture we're in like a bar scene and two characters are having a arm wrestling contest and you want to make sure somebody wins. You could just weight the scales. This would preempt the entire like trying to cut off like where this falls. You would know ahead of time. You would just make the roll minus the number and then do what have you. It's like negative guidance or
Oh,
bane.
yes, like make you apply it on the front end rather than trying to interrupt. Yeah, totally. Um,
So I think the custom kit option is the strongest just because I think this is so paper D&D coded.
I agree. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing this up because I do think the first time we used it, it would be clunky and disruptive,
I'm thinking
frankly.
like
So
either doing it beforehand, I'm gonna forget, or another option I was considering but hadn't said is it's my responsibility to bring it up when a check happens. But also I don't always know when a check happens, and I know you do this and I do this. You just say a check happens and it didn't happen. You know what
I'm
I mean?
sorry, you cut out for no, I don't because you cut out for a second, just like
Okay,
a
sorry.
connectivity issue.
I
Say that again.
I do this too, where like I imply a check happens. I don't explicitly say it, and it's like a 50-50 chance that a check did or did not happen. And disrupting that to be like, I'm getting in here, I don't think is very good for the game. So I would just prefer a custom thing, which
Okay.
is of no consequence right now, but for the future. So think about
I
it.
agree.
Yep.
Yes, I think what I'd like to do is maybe over the next week I will homebrew some stuff, throw it to the wall, and you can assess it and tell me what you think. I would also say one of the first places my mind goes for this is we can aggressively customize this for Tilda, who currently has a, you know, assuming you go College of Lore Bard, you would have a default kit,
Yep.
right? So you're the only person in the group really with, other than Sporgle, who has no customized stuff. So I'm happy to come up with something that not only maybe balances the kit a little bit in the flow of the way we run online games, but also gives you more opportunities to fall into a tilde flow, you know, things that feel more natural. So yeah, I think I will homebrew and get back to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for being so consultative about it. What else? You said you had more. You said you had 3 questions. David?
I forget. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
You're right.
you would suggest something akin to Flash of Genius from the Artificer kit or Tilda Lochlaren. I think I've heard of her. Yes, I'm familiar with this. Yeah, that's cool. And maybe we could just make it charisma or something like that. I think that's an excellent idea.
It's
But this also,
basically inspiration. It's not negating anything necessarily. So it is the opposite of what.
it's not quite as reactive. But I
It's
think that
basically like Noe makes a check. She thinks she's gonna fail. I only roll a 12 or whatever, and then Tilda's like, "Wait, I remember reading something about this." And then Flash of Genius adds, whatever her intelligence modifier is.
Isn't that
one of the other.
like
Go ahead.
almost identical to bardic inspiration?
Yes, it is. It is essentially. This is like an artificer feat that I guess.
So
But Bardic you
Well,
roll. This is
it's
a
just
flat bonus.
it's kind of
yes,
the
it's
same
just
thing,
like Bardic
though.
Inspiration, but instead of 1d6, it's your int bonus, which is pretty.
It's the same shit.
I see what both of you are saying. Yeah, it's a negligible difference, but it's also a
Sorry
little
to shoot your
bit.
idea down, Joel. I apologize for being dismissive.
No. It was just an idea.
Well, I think it's a good idea though, if only because it sets some guidelines for how we could theme this, right? Because like Flash of Genius has a certain
I
je
like
ne
the
sais
name.
quoi.
If nothing else, I think we should
Yes,
use the name.
that's exactly what I'm getting at. Yeah. Like and that's sort of what I intend to give Tilda here is something that sets the scene, something that a feather for your cap that makes it so we're less concerned about what your role is or how you implement this, and more how we get there. If that makes any sense at all.
Totally.
Oh, sorry, I did not see. Sarah, if you don't mind that I respond to your character thing here, I think that's an awesome idea. And this is like exactly when we were looking at like how to theme the alchemist kits. I think this is like completely fucking perfect. This is like exactly how I imagine this stuff. I think that is extremely handy. Also something just as like a general thing, as Ari said, sort of like just going in and rewriting her oath to fit how she pictured Kaysen functioning. If you have anything like that you want to change with a custom oath or whatever you want, please just tell me and we can go in with red pen and make things comport with how you imagine your character rather than how I have imagined your character.
I want access to Fireball.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, certainly, Path of the Censor certainly has the ability to. So, do you see how overpowered Path of the Censor could be? You can make anything area of effect that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So maybe you could have something better than Fireball, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
why limit yourself to Fireball? You can have anything ball.
Love
You
it.
like ball? You like balls, bro?
I was thinking
Fuck,
Lightning
ball.
Strike would be pretty fucking sick if it was AoE though, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Like a magnetic dust coming out of the sensor and then just this fucking very cool. Moonbeam, but everywhere.
What's this dirty Selenite stuff? Moonbeam?
Moonbeam.
More like Goon Beam.
This is. You're in Char country, okay?
Yeah, is anyone with magic? Well, I know you're still picking spells for Tilda, but the detect series of spells would be very useful. I don't know if
Ooh, I
people
should
have.
definitely put that. That's so Matilda coded. Thank you.
I'm not
It's
about
very-
detecting stuff.
It's very Lochlaren coded, isn't it?
Hell yeah, totally. Divination. Sorry, go ahead.
Mhm.
Fulmari.
I was just saying, rain is no detect. We're here to blast.
No
On
detect,
Fireball.
only blast. Will Kaysen have any detect spells? It sounded mostly combat oriented.
I mean, depends on what I have prepared for the day. I mean, all paladins will have divine sense, so if there's like powerful good in the room, like a celestial or something like that, I apparently hear like little church organs or something. And if there's evil in the room, such as a vampire, it apparently stinks profusely. But other than that, I don't think I'll make a habit of preparing detection spells, just because we get so few spell slots, and also we can't even cast level 2 spells until level 5, which kind of sucks.
As a paladin, you mean?
But I mean, yeah, as a paladin. I mean, I guess we're not really spell casting focused. But since I only have access to level 1 spells for the foreseeable future, it'll mostly be probably a combination of like a healing spell, some kind of violent but non-lethal sort of spell, like a buffing spell, or like a smite spell, and then something like kind of flavor oriented, like for example a ceremony spell or compelled duel or something like that.
I love compelled duel for you.
It's a spell that I would have completely overlooked, but I clicked on it and I just like, I had like this vision. I had this vision of, I don't know. I don't know. I like flavor spells. I think
me
his
too.
spells will focus a lot on buffing himself and other party members. But I think I'll always have not just lay on hands, but I think I'll always have healing or aiding spell prepared. And then something kind of utility related, like something crowd control that does not involve killing or maiming, like command. Sorry, trying to put all my thoughts together through 3 glasses of mead. It is an effort.
There's quite a few spells that aren't just murder, that are like, you know. And also, everyone should keep in mind that more than half of your spells should be out of combat spells.
It's true.
Just for the balance of the sessions,
Yes.
realistically. So, you know. I was gonna ask, how do you feel about that bullshit ritual casting of Longstrider on everybody? From BG3 that everybody does?
Just please let me do it all at once. Well, let me cast that AoE, please. One less click.
I think I should be disallowed from doing this.
I don't think you get access to it as a ritual, do you, in actual 5e? Or nor does it last 8 hours?
I don't know.
Would
Oh.
have to check. I mean, certainly if you, I mean, so this is a great example of like the overarching principle of if you improve everybody's speed permanently by 10 feet, it just forces me to rebalance everything around that. So that's fine if
Nah.
if it's something like, oh, we have this ritual every day. Like, here's a great example. Okay, everything in Arabelle and Black late in the game assumed that you had Heroes Feast on,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like how Latcher started nodding before I even finished the thought because he knew what I was going to say, right? So there's stuff like that where I feel like if it's like foundational to the party and foundational to your characters, let's run with it. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you want, then let's do it. But that does not fit my imagination of Tilda. So
Agreed.
I think I would reject it more on a thematic than a balance ground.
Got it. Alright, good. I'm happy you said no.
Also, for the record, in Baldur's Gate, I believe you can upcast Longstrider, and it gets a little AoE that allows you to put it on several people.
Yeah, then you have to use a spell slot.
No, I don't think you do. Or maybe you do. Maybe you do need to use a spell slot.
You do.
I mean, you just use the camp cleric to do that shit anyway, so.
It's true. Baldur's Gate really did ruin my understanding of 5e.
I remember we were playing early and you were very certain of the way something worked, and I said, this isn't 5th edition. This is Baldur's Gate.
You were right.
I was there for that argument. Yes,
You
I don't even remember what you guys were talking about, but yes, I remember you having that discussion, and yes, you were both correct, and I tried to mediate it.
Yep. This sounds extremely believable.
If I have to be pedantic about any one thing, it's D&D.
Well, that's all I had.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, just for balance purpose. Just because my memory is not the greatest right now. What sort of what was Noe gonna focus on? Just at least like for spells or just like flavor of paladin or
Uh,
more healing?
disease, conditions, like treating that kind of thing. Um, a lot of command, obviously, because giving orders is something a noble should do. Healing, that sort of thing. I probably will subclass into sorcerer now that we've talked about it, just to give her a little more magic oomph.
I want you to do that because I think it'll be great for your character.
I agree with that. I think it is thematically consistent with, in the same way that the Longshore thing doesn't really fit not just Tilda but also the Labarans. I think that focusing on sorcerer blended with paladin fits not just No Way but also the Saint Seers. I don't know if you heard
Agreed.
any of that, but I did.
I did, yeah, no, it came through clearly.
Also, you're like fighting against this urge to be a caster and trying to serve the family in like kind of this stalwart frontline cornerstone faculty, and sometimes your heritage is too strong to ignore.
Sometimes you're just so beautiful and pure of light that it just spills out of every orifice, and people just have to stand and stare at you and be like, wow, she's so gorgeous.
Yee.
It's like Regina George, but the complete opposite in temperament.
Yeah.
Thank you. Other thoughts?
I think I'm good. We
Can,
blast.
can everyone play next week, 1 week from today? I got a yes from Frample. I got a yes from Latro. I got a yes from Ariadne. I got a yes from David. I got a yes from Joel. Sarah, good for next week. 1 week from today. You're checking your schedule right now, I'm guessing.
I should be good.
Sick. Okay, well, thank you for the wonderful session. I really wanted to do a session like this, so this was ungodly cool. I love when you guys can just like banter and chat for 2 hours. I think this is like the best way to level up, and this is what I think a lot of the level up sessions will probably look like, where you have sort of like an open forum to discuss the massive amount of XP you just got. But you're all the best. Thank you so much for coming. Good night. Get it? It's the name of the campaign.
It's I heard.
Uh,
It's in the thing.
See ya.